New Year.
Happy New Year to you as well.
Any fresh injury concerns after Tuesday?
No, obviously we haven't trained yet, so today's going to be the first training session properly with the players that obviously started against Villa, so we will know more this afternoon.
You spoke about Declan Rice a couple of times this week and the swelling on his knee.
Yeah.
Has it reduced and has he got a chance for Saturday?
Well, not yet, and we have another session today. Let's see how he comes today and how that's feeling, but it was too early that game for him.
A couple of others in Calafiori and Mosquera. What chance they could feature?
They are both out.
They're both out, okay. Gabriel Jesus looking sharp, back scoring. Kai Havertz back in the squad for the first time since the opening day. How pleasing is it to finally have that selection headache, and how much do you think it could help someone like Victor Gyökeres having those players back?
Well, it helps the team, it helps every individual. I think that's what we want, to have the option with the amount of games that we have on the schedule. So far we haven't had that option, so yeah, looking forward to have everybody on it, everybody performing, being able to change profiles, to change during the game as well, and to pick the best players in the best condition every time.
It's Bournemouth next. The corresponding fixture last season felt like a little bit of a turning point because it was a first defeat of the season for you, but it was also a third red card of the season for you as well. 6 in all last season, but none so far this season. Are you pleased with the discipline and how it's gone so far on that front this season?
Obviously we know how important it is to maintain your 11 players on the pitch as much as possible, and yeah, we failed to do that last year. We lost both games against them, and we know the difficulty of that. We know how good of a team they are, how they can threat you from every angle, so we know the difficulty of the game tomorrow.
The transfer window is open, of course. You've said that you're Arsenal and you always keep your eyes open and are alert to any potential opportunities. If there was to be any arrivals in this window, would it be with a view to a long-term view with regard to the player that potentially could come in, or are you leaving yourself open to maybe a loan as well, maybe?
We are open to every option. Obviously, we can find a solution that is short, medium, and long. It's always much better because it gives you stability, and you don't have to constantly start a process with a new player. But let's see what happens. Let's see what the news are in the next few weeks, and we will try to make the right decision.
On potential outs, I know you've been asked this question before. Ethan Nwaneri hasn't actually played since the Bruges game. Wasn't in the squad at all against Aston Villa. What's your thinking with him? Would you maybe consider a departure for him on loan, perhaps, just so he can get first-team football?
That every player is very important. Every player has a role. That role can change throughout the season for different reasons, and everybody has to be ready to play. That's it.
Just finally from me, Mikel, you will know that there's been a managerial departure in Enzo Maresca.
Yeah.
What was your reaction to it? Did it surprise you?
Well, wish him all the best. I really like Enzo as a person, as a professional. I think he's done a terrific job at Chelsea, and that's a decision that has been made, and just wish him all the best.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hi.
Morning, Mikel. Top of the table, 4 points clear of second place, Manchester City after a convincing win against Aston Villa. What is the mood like amongst the team at the moment?
Well, it was very good, obviously, after the game against a really tough opposition again, to perform and to win in the manner that we did. Great focus on Bournemouth. We know how tough it's going to be tomorrow's game, and everybody's happy.
You speak about the difficulties of facing Bournemouth. They were actually the only team to do the double over Arsenal last season.
Yeah.
What lessons did you take from both encounters?
Well, a lot. They were two very different games. Obviously, a game there till minute 30 when Saliba gets surprisingly sent off. After, obviously, it was a different game when we managed as well, and we had some chances, but we managed losing the game against a home display at the beginning that it was very dominant, and that ended up in a really poor way for us. So a lot to learn, huge respect for them. I know Andoni really well and what he's doing. I think incredible, and I'm watching all the games that they played this season and against the top sides, how difficult they made it and how they haven't got results against them as well. Difficult to understand.
There was a mention, of course, of the likes of Gabriel Jesus coming back and Havertz in the squad. Someone who's obviously done well up front for you is Leandro Trossard, the most goal involvements. How pleased have you been with his performance of the season so far?
Well, I think he's been very consistent, very stable, but all of the front players, I would say, because they all contributed through the season so far in a great way, whether it's starting or whether as an impact players as well. So that's what we need. Whoever we put in there, they will bring different qualities to the team, but I think they're in a great moment.
Do you sense a real hunger then from those attacking players to want to start?
Yeah, to want to start, but as well fulfilling their role when they have to come in an extraordinary way. That's something that we have improved a lot. So every time we bring in players on the pitch, they really decide in games, and that's what we need.
Thank you, best of luck.
Thank you.
Ian, talk sport.
Hi Mikel, how are you?
Very good, thank you.
4 points clear at the top. Would you have signed up for that right at the beginning of the season to go into the second half of the year with a lead of 4 points? And is it already beginning to, in your mind, look like that game at the Etihad could be the title decider?
Well, it's where we are, and we are really happy in the position that we are. It can always be better. There are things to improve, obviously, and the only thing we look at is that Bournemouth, the next game, and we know how tough it is for every opponent to beat them.
You've only lost 2 games this season. That kind of consistency, though, is what wins you titles, right?
Yes, but we are still in early January, so we have another 5 months to go, and so far we have to do much more.
The club's discipline, players' discipline has been mentioned already. No dismissals yet this season. How much of that is down to you? How much did you take them aside at the beginning of the season and say, listen, we have to keep 11 players on the pitch? And your behaviour on the touchline, you're still passionate and jumping up and down, but it also has improved.
No, well, I think it's we can talk about it, but at the end it's players' decisions, and sometimes not even their decision. So yeah, we had periods since I've been here that we had quite a lot of red cards, then none. So that has fluctuated. We know how important it is to have that stability in that discipline, and as well having the possibility to play constantly with 11 players. We try to do that as much as possible.
And finally, Declan Rice.
I think he's a top professional, top guy. He wants to help the team. He wants to help the teammates, and I have no doubts that he will do his best. Yes, no doubt with him.
Does he want to go?
You have to ask him. Antoine is behaving really, really well. There is a lot of noise around him, and he has been a top professional, and I'm sure he will be until the last day, yes.
A top professional, that must be really tough, given that everyone has linked him with the move away. That's Semenyo.
Yeah, because it's going to happen. It's going to happen. You asked me at the start of the show about the word on the street. Well, the word on the street is that he's going to sign a long-term deal at City, and he's going to be the latest addition to the Pep Guardiola stable of all-stars. And he's earned the move as well because he's been really consistent. He's been the most potent weapon in the Bournemouth side. He scored against top clubs right from the kickoff. You know, you think about the Liverpool game where he was so impressive in difficult circumstances, as we all know, and he's maintained that consistency all the way through the season.
I'd like you to ask Rachel the question you posed during the break.
What about whether she would be a regular first-team player at Aston Villa, as she was, or go to a bigger side, I won't know any specific side, but an A-list side, where she would play perhaps 1 game in 3, which is potentially what could be the case for Semenyo.
I'm going to have to have a political answer here. I think our debate was how tolerant are you? How good can you cope with being a sub, which may happen initially, which we expect will happen initially, as it often does.
And the psychology that you were explained to me was really instructive.
And for some people, that is really difficult. Sort of the emotional turmoil they go through during the week of you training, you look like you're not in the starting 11. That sort of heightens as the week goes on. It then gets confirmed when you find out the team, and it's some players that's just really tough.
Yeah.
And I don't know if Semenyo has that much experience of that. But when you see his character from how he's performed at Bournemouth, and even just seeing how he's performed this season, because the rumours were certainly there in the summer as well. I think in some ways it maybe does make it easier for him to know that if the move happens in January, he knows he's contributed a lot to the first half of the season.
Absolutely.
And also he's made it very clear that he's thoroughly loved his time there. He loves doing well for the club, helping the club achieve that they have achieved. Last season was a huge part of where they finished. So he deserves his move, and it's just nice to hear that also the manager at the moment is saying, Areola is saying, he's a great professional. And I think nowadays we don't hear loads of that outwardly. So it's good to know that that's his character, and that's going to serve him well if he does go to Man City. Doesn't get in right away, or he has to fight for minutes, he has to compete. You have to suck that up and take your chance when you get it.
Yeah, Antoine Semenyo has been so critical for them. It would be such a pity for them to lose him, especially given they started the season so well. And now they win this in 10, down to 15th. What's happened?
Well, ironically, Semenyo's not their problem. It's at the back that they've got a problem, and they started so defensively well, but they've lost their way. Now, in a way, you can understand it because they lost their back four in the summer to bigger clubs, including Heisen, who went to Real Madrid. And they're in a situation. They kind of responded to it really well. I almost feel like a little bit of an imposter talking about defensive issues when I got a fantastic defender alongside me. So I'll hand over to you for this little bit.
Yeah, well, they did lose a key number of those players, goalkeeper as well, of course, and that just unsettles you a little bit. It takes a little bit of time. There is some concern to those results, to not win a game, then you build into that momentum, and it's funny how that happens. How you can have a structure that's very good, and then you run into a bit of negative momentum, and we often speak about it with forwards.
Can I ask you, Rach, so in these situations, what are they not doing here? Because I mean, this is against Brentford, right? What's wrong with the positioning? Is it a lack of communication? Sorry, that was Sunderland. Sorry, Brentford. But what is it they're doing so wrong? How have they lost confidence?
I think probably as a player, it becomes your instinct. So you just subtle things. You'll start to carry a deeper line, which encourages the team on, gives a bigger space in the midfield to cover. Ends up meaning the other team spends a bit more time getting opportunities, or you're more spread out, gaps to play through. So that's very subtle, but it can build. Then you end up with your own instincts. There's times when you're feeling confident, you'll just comfortably side foot the ball out of play. All of a sudden, when you're low in confidence, you get tense. And same with strikers. We talk about strikers being tense. They don't finish chances we expect them to. Same with defenders. A ball that you just think, just take your side foot and clear that height and distance. All of a sudden, you mishit it. Or in that, I think Truffer there loses his footing. Those are the things that, yes, you think it's a freak accident, but some of that's to do with getting your feet right quick enough, getting in position quick enough, and going back to some of the simple instincts. And it can be infectious, and it affects people around you. So it's tough when you're in that rut.
I want to stick with the theme of defenders as we move on to their opposition this weekend, and that's Arsenal. The statement win over Aston Villa. I don't really want to ask Rachel this question first because she's already given me the side eye. The statement win over Aston Villa in a run where they've been, lucky with own goals. They've had penalties. This was something else.
Well, I mean, I'll tell you what I thought when I watched this game. Look at the way that there is no tackle on any Arsenal player as they come in to score these goals. The space that they're given as well. To my mind, including the first goal where the goalkeeper just completely falls to pieces, this is an Aston Villa side for me that suffered stage fright on the night. Big match, crucial game. Had they won, they could have drawn level on points with Arsenal, and they froze. It was as if they were more used to seeing off sides where the pressure was all on the opposition than this one, because I think for them this was a real opportunity. That performance, particularly defensively, was inexplicable from what I've seen so far this season, particularly from an Unai Emery side as well that is normally so well organised. I expect them to bounce back this weekend because they play Forest. They've won their last 10 games at home. They'll be good against Forest again, but I just think they almost flew too close to the defensive sun this weekend, in midweek against Arsenal, and they'll just be glad it's behind them.
I want to talk about Arsenal because they are playing Bournemouth, and stick with the defenders question now that Rachel is okay with it and okay with me talking about that game. Gabriel Magalhaes, that game showed me just how important he is to this team.
Yeah, but also I think one of the things is they have so much competition everywhere, and that ups your level in training every day. You know, we talk about making incremental gains. They are absolutely better with Gabriel.
Yeah.
He is, for me this season, the best centre back in the Premier League, maybe in Europe. His contribution at both ends is absolutely remarkable. And I think his relationship with Saliba as well has flourished. But
What's
for
he
them,
do? What's he do? Well, what is it like the Gabriel? Why is he so good?
Well, I think the relationship for me is the key part.